Welcome to hell, motherfucker!
Hey guys, Jim here. Welcome in once again, and I am beside myself with excitement and childlike wonder because of the knife that's inside of this case. Now, I've actually gotten so excited over this knife after opening it up and playing with it that I sat right down to do this review, start the video, before even doing the photography, which is really, really rare for me to do unless it's an unboxing video. So the images you just saw at the beginning of this video, I'm actually photographing after I'm done doing the review because I really just want to get to this. Oh man, this thing is crazy. This is the Mechforce knives and Tashi Bharucha S.O.S, which stands for the Son of Sam. And these are about $385. I don't want to mislead you. It is an expensive knife for a production knife. However, I believe that you're going to be able to very easily justify the price of this knife once we get into this. Put this off to the side here. I'm going to say it right up front, not make you hang around and wait forever. This is my knife of the year. Flat out, period. My favorite knife that I have reviewed all year. And there's been some stiff competition. And if you've watched my video on the Reich Knife SO5, you'll realize how difficult it is for me to pick just one knife for the whole year that's my absolute favorite. And this is going to be it. Now let's get into why. First off, before anybody starts making any assumptions, these are built in the US. Now I was not expecting that because not all of Mechforce's knives have been. So as of their description, they are assembled in the US from US and imported components. So if I had to guess, and I have no verification of this, but if I had to guess, I would say that the parts may be machined overseas in China or somewhere, and then shipped over to the U.S. with all of the refining, cleanup, and the fitment and everything, and all that done here in the U.S. All I could say is this: the knife is about as close to perfect as you could ever expect. The build quality, the fit and finish, the action, everything about this knife is truly remarkable. It's one of those knives that you have to hold in your hand to believe. Now, these are going to be available through White Mountain Knives, NCBlade, Knifejoy, and Knifecenter. So any of those retailers, any of those online retailers you can go to and find them in stock right now. There are different variations. There's the full titanium with blue pocket clip and blue pivot collars. There's the full titanium with bronze pocket clip and bronze pivot collars. There's carbon fiber. And I believe there is a version of the carbon fiber that also has the Damascus clip like you're seeing here. And then, of course, as you're seeing here, you can get the full titanium with the Damascus pocket clip. So there's a lot of different variations to choose from, but they're all going to be the same basic idea. Now, for those who don't know who Tashi Bharucha is, Tashi is not only an unbelievably talented designer, hailing from France, but he's also an extremely talented custom knife maker in his own right, and his knives are highly sought after because of their degree of quality and, of course, their scarcity. He does not make a lot of knives himself. Very, 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 very few. As a matter of fact, whenever you see him at Blade Show or something, he's got maybe single digits, 6, 5, 6, 7, 8 knives with him offering for sale, because he just doesn't make a tremendous amount of them. So that makes each and every one a little bit more special. Tashi has also collaborated with some of the most talented knife makers in existence to mash up their designs with insane results. Now, if you've been watching my channel for any length of time, you know that I have reviewed a lot of Tashi knives, both in custom collaborations like the Midnight Razor with John Graham, like the VSS with Jim Burke, which was one of my all-time favorite knives that I have ever come across in my entire life. It was an absolute grail purchase for me. I was very, very, very proud to own it. And on top of all that, he's done a lot of production collaborations, such as this one, where his design is directly translated into a more affordable package with the cost-cutting benefits of mass production. Now, I have reviewed a lot of those as well, such as the Custom Knife Factory, the Riot, what was it called? The Riot Future. So many cool knives, so many cool designs. And I'll say this right now. Out of every production Tashi collaboration that I have personally handled, this is far and away the best. It just feels so high-end, so refined, it's ridiculous. Now, if you ever get the chance to meet Tashi at a show or whatever, go out of your way to do it. Tashi is one of the nicest, funniest, and coolest dudes you're ever going to meet. And if you're an aspiring knife designer or knife maker, almost nobody knows more about the ins and outs of this business than Tashi. From the design aspects to manufacturing, to dealing with other knife makers in collaborations, to the business end of making production knives. He has literally done it all and done it for so long and knows every little trick to the trade. Now, I came across Mechforce quite by accident one day, and after getting their initial knife model, the M1, which is what's right here in my hands, I quickly realized that they were going to make a big impact in the industry soon. Now, the M1 was cool, but not fall all over yourself, mind-blowing cool. It was just a cool knife. But it had a unique design because of these replaceable inlays. This knife is made to where you can pop these inlays out and put different replacement inlays that they offer in place of those. So it was a really cool idea, and I wasn't sure when I first saw them if it was a gimmick, if the knife was even any good, or they were just relying on that gimmick. But when I got it, I was actually surprised with the quality of the build and the action, so that has solidified this knife in my collection. It's in my collection still to this day. They did an admirable job with this. They did a really good job with this. However, it is not on the same plane as the Son of Sam. This is leaps and bounds above. The fit and finish is that of a high-end custom knife. The action is absolutely orgasmic. Every bit and part of this knife feels refined to a degree far beyond the price point. And if you handed me this knife, with all of the years I've been doing this, handling knives, reviewing knives, and making knives, and you said that this sells for $1,000, I wouldn't even doubt you. I would look at it, I would scrutinize it. I see no machining marks, no tool marks. I see nothing but a perfect, flawless finish. Everything is just done so perfectly. and it feels so good. It is honestly one of the most shockingly great production knives that I've ever experienced at any price point. And yeah, I've had a chance to review production knives that cost twice this much, 3 times this much. And this just feels like a different level. There's something very, very special about it. I will say this. Tashi's designs visually are remarkable. I love the sleek look of his designs. I love when he gets nice and curvaceous like this, with the recurves, the harpoon, the curved handle, all that looks great. Everything he does is very modern to futuristic, and definitely is a work of art. But I will say this, there will be some people that may not like the flipper tab because of the way that it kind of comes to a point right up here, and that really is going to get into your finger. You can certainly pull back right here. You can put your finger in that notch and then just pull back. But getting the extra leverage of going all the way up is really going to give you that rocket-like action. So I'll tell you that right off the jump. But Tashi has a unique way of designing his flipper tabs. You'll almost always recognize his knives by his flipper tabs, either with this aggressive curve or it's completely flat face, very straight, and jutting out like a reverse shark fin. It's one of his design signatures. It's the way that he designs all of his knives. So it's, take it or leave it, love it or hate it. That may be something that prevents somebody from absolutely falling in love with this knife, and I totally get that. Because as much as I love the look of it, and I love his work and designs, I had actually purchased on the secondary market that Midnight Razel, that John Graham collaboration. After having owned my own Razel and loving John Graham's work, I wasn't really able to keep that knife because it was too difficult to really get the blade to flip open, and it was kind of painful the way that particular flipper tab would dig into your finger. So I can totally understand where you might see or feel that. Totally get it. Now let's talk about the specs very quickly here. I'm going to give myself a little room because there's a lot to talk about here. We're looking obviously at a titanium frame lock. The overall length is 8.3 inches with a 3.5 inch blade made of M390. And you've got a really cool finish on here. So your grinds, it is a compound ground knife. So you have a beautifully hollow ground primary bevel with the flat ground tip. Those are all done in a very usable, serviceable stone wash, so you're not really afraid to use the knife. Maybe if it were all hand-rubbed satin, you might have an issue with that. And then the flats are a very, very high grit hand-rubbed satin, almost to a mirror. It's almost polished up on the flats. It's a really nice two-tone effect. Your blade stock thickness is 180 thousandths of an inch thick, so it is pretty substantial. And this whole knife is so sleek and so modern that I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting maybe 130, maybe 140. Because I thought it was going to be very, very thin and slender. It's not. This is a substantial knife. You'll feel it, and you'll feel it in the weight when you pick it up. It's 5 ounces. It's not a lightweight. It's not overweight at all either. But you definitely feel the substance to it, and that's because of the thickness of the blade stock. Your handle thickness is just over 1/2 inch. It's 550 thou thick. You've got bearings, obviously, so it's going to be very smooth and very fast. And on this particular version, we've got the Timascus pocket clip with the blue titanium pivot collars. And again, I have to reiterate this because it is such a surprise, not expected for this price point, that these are, as Mechforce lists them, assembled in the USA from US and imported parts. So, hell yes. Big hell yes. Love everything about this knife. Now, as you notice, I'm not doing the TLDW with the pros and the cons because they're, in my opinion, No cons to this knife. Again, a little niggle right here for some people that you may not like the way that comes to a point. But that's really it, and that's going to be a personal thing. One of the things that I love is this looks like it's an integral. It does not have a backspacer, does not have standoffs. It's a clamshell of the front side and back side titanium that's brought together, and you can barely see that seam. Now, obviously on video here, I'm shooting in very, very high quality, and under a studio lighting system, you're going to see it, but it's almost completely invisible. And by the way, you cannot feel that seam. You can close your eyes and you can just totally Helen Keller this. You could start feeling it with your hand, and you'll never detect that seam. It is perfectly mated everywhere. They've done an outstanding job on the manufacturing here. If I had a personal preference on how this is finished, I really wish that the dished areas of each of the holes were polished. Because I love that two-tone effect when makers do that, when they dish or bevel each of their speed holes, and then they do a little polish or chatter. I really like that look. But certainly not necessary. I think it looks really, really good the way that it is. So that's how it looks with the blade closed. Whip that blade open, and then the holes are matched on the other side for the forward holes. So you can see all the way through, and on the rearward holes you see into the frame. Little lanyard opening back here at the rear of the frame. The pocket clip is set very, very high so that you can easily fit this into a jeans pocket without the seam of the pocket stopping before it reaches the end. So you're only going to have this much exposed from your pocket. Man, oh man, this thing was just so perfectly made. Just so wonderfully done. What an excellent job. So I have to commend everybody over at Mechforce for a job well done. Always to Tashi for an incredible design. Anyway, overall, I think the knife is absolutely magnificent. And whether you go with the carbon fiber presentation side or the full titanium, I think that you're going to be extremely happy. I would expect that the carbon fiber would probably knock off an ounce and a half or 2 ounces. It may be closer to 3 ounces in total weight with the carbon fiber. But I don't know because I don't have one here to play with. I am sticking with this one. The full tie was the way to go because that really represents more of what Tashi makes himself. He is an artist in titanium, and I think every custom that I've seen him make has been in titanium. I don't recall ever seeing him showing any that were carbon fiber or G10 or anything like that. I'm not saying it hasn't been done, I just don't recall ever seeing it. Oh my goodness, just fantastic. Everything about this knife was very, very well executed and well thought out. Now, you might be looking at this and thinking, oh, that's going to dig into my fingers. That's a sharp corner. That's going to suck. Honestly, you do feel it, but I don't have an issue with it. It's not digging into me. And really, this knife is much more of an EDC knife or even more of a showpiece for a lot of people and not really one that's probably going to be hard used, for a long period of time where you're really gripping really hard and really digging in. You can. You can watch my skin turn red and yellow from gripping so hard, and you don't really see anything there from where that was digging in. So they did a really good job on executing that as well. So that's my thoughts on the S.O.S, the son of Sam Flipper from Mechforce Knives and Tashi. I hope you guys feel the same way that I do. If you've already gotten one, please sound off down below. I want to hear your thoughts. Am I crazy? Am I just infatuated with how beautiful this knife is? Is there anything that I missed? And if you happen to order one after this video has come out, come back to the video and let us know what you thought when you first received it. Were you able to justify the price? Was it worth the money to you? Because this is a premium price for a production knife. And they're not hiding it. They're not making anything up here. But they're offering what I feel is an exceptional value for the money that's being spent here. So go for it. Have no fear. Mechforce is here to stay. I tell you what, man, they are doing some really, really cool shit. And there's much, much more coming in the future. They've talked about a few of their new and upcoming projects on their Instagram. Go check them out. Go see what interests you. They're working with some really cool knife makers and creating some of their designs in production knives. Keep your eyes on them, especially over the next year. I'm sprinkling in a little hint here, not giving you any spoilers though. There is at least one project coming within the next year, during the calendar year 2024, that you're going to want to pay attention to. It's going to be very special, very cool, and wildly aggressive. Really crazy. So keep your eyes open. I'll be sure to bring it out here, hopefully before anybody else, and share that with you as well. Stay tuned, and I'll see you on the next video. By the way, a little sneak peek here. This is a knife that I'm technically not allowed to be showing you yet. But for those of you that recognize that logo, this is not the tease that I was giving you a minute ago. This is going to be coming out maybe right here at the tail end of 2023. Could be available during this month. I'm not sure yet. But this is a knife that I've been playing with for a couple of months now. I really, really dig it. This is going to be the next big collaboration from Mechforce. And stay tuned, because this one is the revival of a legend. Wait. I just realized I missed a wonderful opportunity there. This is the resurrection of a legend.